guys, welcome back to my channel, and today I'm talking about despair, desperation, the lowest level, emotional level, just before the apathy, just before you become really apathetic, right? And it's just because despair is the feeling of helplessness. It is another term for the feeling of helplessness. And well, sometimes despair is a very natural feeling that we feel, well, when we lose a loved one, when there is a critical situation in our life, our kids get sick and in a dangerous situation. There is a life-threatening condition of someone that we care for. We feel desperate. We feel desperate because we are out of control and there is nothing we can do. However, there is always a way out. And even if it feels like it's not, we will need to learn more about the life cycle in order to understand why we feel desperate. So desperation comes when we feel like there is no choice, there is nothing more I can do, that's it, that's the end. Also, it can mean I'm out of control, I am helpless, I am hopeless. And the interesting thing is that desperation and hope have a very similar trait. Hope is also when we don't feel like we can control something. The only thing that is left is hope. When we are in despair, the same. We feel like everything is out of our control. There is nothing we can do. And usually this feeling can be temporary, or this feeling can be like long term, which can lead to depression, a very severe depression. This can lead to even more severe outcomes, like suicidal thoughts, right? Feeling like life just doesn't have a meaning anymore. So what are the roots and the causes of feeling despair? Like, it's not like you were born with this feeling. No and no. This feeling is learned, right? This feeling is something that you learn during your lifetime. First is lack of responsibility when you were growing up. For example, when you turned 14 or 15 and your parents still didn't give you a chance, right, to take the responsibility for your actions, to make decisions by yourself. So then when you grow up, there is something serious that happened. Life is unexpected all the time. You don't know what's going to happen. And when something traumatic, painful, unexpected happens, we feel desperate because we don't know how to deal with situations. So feeling desperate is always about not knowing what to do. And this is a learned experience. If you didn't know what to do when you were growing up, when you didn't learn coping skills, understanding, when you were ignorant, right, of how to deal with problems, with struggles, with suffering, then you can feel desperate when you grow up. Sometimes we had to grow up very fast. So everything was great, and then you lose someone that you love. You lose a caregiver. Someone that you really cared for, someone that you love passed away. And then you have to grow up really fast. Sometimes that feeling of out of control can lead in the future of feeling desperate. There is no choice, no one can help me. So first one is lack of responsibility. Another one is previous experiences where you had hope, but nothing helped. So something happened in your life when you tried so hard to save the situation, but it didn't work out. So something bad happened, something emotional, painful happened, traumatic happened, and you started to believe that, well, what's the point then in trying? I don't have a choice. But you always have a choice, and you always can do that. And I'm going to tell you what to do in order to have this exit plan. And by the end of the video, you're going to have an exit plan that you can follow step by step, and you can get out of that feeling of desperation. Another reason is when your parents or you started to feel like a victim. Usually when we feel desperate, we feel like it's someone else's fault. It's out of my control, it's someone else's fault. Someone owes me, someone has to give me happiness, right? But no one does, so I feel desperate. So sometimes when we play a role of a victim, it happens. Another one is social expectations. When we live in a modern world, and I call them cement jungles, right? So brick jungles. We have a lot of expectations from the society. Be smart, be perfect, work hard, be wealthy, be successful, right? We have so many expectations, and our inner resources are not enough to meet those expectations, because really there are a lot of expectations. So we start to we try to meet those expectations, but we cannot, so we feel desperate. And sometimes it can lead to depressive modes, right? So to feeling anxious, feeling fears, and feeling like, well, I can't do anything. So how do you get out of that feeling? How do you get out of that bottom line? Usually despair is a bottom line. And if you change the perception of that, you can see it as a growing point. Usually, how many times you've heard these instances when people will tell you that I was so low, I was at the lowest point in my life, and I realized that something has to be changed. Usually people who see despair as a very a growing point, they rise up from that feeling even stronger. So change your perception. Despair, this low bottom line, or like rock bottom, right? I've been there. I know what it is. When everything feels like there is no hope, there is no way out, and nothing will work, and it's going to be like that forever. So I've been there a couple of times, and after that, something really, really serious, transformational happened. My life changed. So see these points as a growing point. It's the first step. Change your perception of your current state. Even if it's a depression, maybe you don't even feel like you want to live, there is no meaning, or something serious is happening in your life that you are afraid for the health of your loved ones. Change the perception. It is a growing point. And I know it's sometimes hard, especially for people who have terminally ill family members. Then you need to do the step 2. Educate yourself on the life cycles. Educate yourself on what can you control, what is out of your control, because really the only thing you can control is your mind. That's it. So when you control your mind, you can accept situation, you can forgive, you can do so many more things that you are doing now. So educate yourself on how your mind works, on how the life cycle is, what is death, what is life, what is sickness, what is illness, why we come into this world. So educate yourself. There's so much information right now. With one click in 5 minutes, you can get to know everything. Let's go. So another step that you can take is ask for help. Sometimes people feel desperate because they feel like there is no one that can help them. No one can help me in this situation, which is not true. We are social creatures. We are social human beings. We are born, we are made, right, to make connections. So ask for help. Even if you have never had any chance to ask for help, this is a good time. When you're desperate, there is someone who can tell you what to do, someone who can support you, who can understand you. There are a lot of good people in this world. Another step that you can take is don't expect to come out of the feeling of desperation in 1-2 days. Sometimes it happens, and I've seen people come out of really low points in a couple of days. But usually you have to take small steps, and that will help a lot, because then the result will be permanent. Another thing is that you need to do is make a plan. So people feel desperate because they don't know what's going to happen in the future. Make a plan. By the way, me and my husband, we have this, I call it black book. We have a black book of scenarios that our life can go. For example, if one of our kids gets sick, really seriously gets sick, what are we going to do? What if we have to leave the country? What if there is something that happening in the country that, our life is in danger? What are we doing? So make a plan. Make a plan, even if it feels unrealistic. Even if you know that, what's the point? There is a big point. When you are ready for any scenario, you cannot be ready for everything, but at least you have that peace of mind. That if that happens, I know what to do. At least I have a plan. I'm not a huge fan of plans, but this plan makes me feel good. Me and my husband did it, and now we know that we cannot control what's going to happen to us. However, we know what we're going to do if something bad happens. And life is unpredictable. You never know. If someone knew what's going to happen, life would be not interesting, trust me. No one knows what is going to happen. When you have a diagnosis, for example, someone gave you a very serious negative diagnosis about your health, cancer, multiple sclerosis, right? So something that people say, it's you only have a couple of months or a couple of years to live. We're still going to do the surgery, but sometimes people feel desperate, and because people, not sometimes, but often, but when people feel desperate, that worsens their condition in multiple times. Worsens their condition. So please, 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 if you have a plan, what you're going to do, at least you have a vision, you have a direction, and you can live your life knowing that if something bad happens, if it already happened, and you're desperate, ask for help, educate yourself. Also, you can find out what is making you desperate, why you feel this feeling. There is always a reason for any feeling. Feeling desperate is a very natural feeling. We sometimes feel down and we feel, okay, I'm desperate. That doesn't mean you're desperate, but it's a very natural feeling. It's in our emotional scale. So you have to allow that feeling to happen. But when you find out why you keep being in that negative, low state of mind, then you will understand how to get out of it. But if you don't know where it's coming from, then how would you know how to get out of that situation? So follow these little steps that I've just named, and you will see how your mental health improves and your life improves as well. I hope this content is interesting for you. I do invite you for the meditation on Saturday, because I'm going to make you a meditation that is going to help you to release the feeling of desperation. Something that you can find a good, positive resource within you and use it to keep you going. So please look out for the meditation. I'm going to post it in all my social media. If you like the content, please follow me on Instagram, follow me on Facebook. I post a lot of interesting content so you can learn more about your mind and you can become healthier emotionally and physically. Bye. Love you all.